You'd have to be really good not to tell. But
the question we were answering, it was an AMA, Kyle, and it's: are you any new hobbies, any new skills you're cultivating? Was what it was. Yes,
skills.
I couldn't think of any skills, and the ones I could think of are beyond useless. Archery. What the hell am I doing?
No, that's a good one. If you ever, you should go hunting. I don't know why you haven't decided to like go kill an animal with that bow.
It does seem like something Taylor would like. I'm sorry to cut you off, but
no,
agree and amplify. Dude, Taylor would love hunting. I just think he would. I could see him getting into it and regaling us with tales of sitting in the woods and not seeing anything for 6 hours.
Not seeing anything. Well, I brought my freeze pipe, so it was still a good time. Yeah.
It was a blast.
I haven't hunted in years. Like, I think it was like 7 years ago I got a deer, and that was the last time I've hunted.
So you have killed a deer?
Yeah.
Did you blood yourself like they do on Yellowstone?
Blood myself? No, we went over there and then cleaned it and then ate it.
You didn't put it all over your face and eat the heart?
Anybody who does that,
who does that?
That's a made up Hollywood
on Yellowstone.
Yeah, that's
it's so hilarious what those people like who've never like been to a farm think like farm life is like.
Here's what it's like when you live in the country, like people come there and in any situation where people come, they're like, hey, what's it like here? There's all kinds of ways to like fuck with newcomers, and this is another one of them. You send you on a snipe hunt, or we send you to get a fucking left-handed stapler, or we get you the fucking turn signal fluid or whatever. You know what I mean?
Cow tipping.
Yeah, cow tipping. Made up thing. You know what a snipe hunt is? Eh?
Yeah.
I was convinced. I'm out there looking for him, man. Like we're just running around through the woods. It's all fun.
I once spent hours in the woods when my Boy Scout patrol sent me looking for a left-handed smoke shifter. The smoke it kept blowing into everyone's eyes and stuff. So they're like, Woody, see if any other campsites around here have a left-handed smoke shifter. I'm like, aye. You know, I just went for miles to place to place to place. Some hadn't heard of it.
Miles.
It wasn't until a trooper picked me up on I-10 and informed me that they hoodwinked me and that the choppers were in the air.
Yeah. It wasn't until I was sitting cab with what I thought was a friendly trucker taking me to a local supply depot.
As they say in Milwaukee, cash, grass, or ass. Yeah.
Cash, grass.
Cash, grass, or ass.
You come back with a left-handed smoke shifter and you're like, you better be fucking using this. You don't know what I did on the road.
As I wipe the semen off my chin.
Yeah,
so like the idea since you brought that left-handed smoke shifter.
The idea of like putting that deer's blood on me is like first of all, them things got ticks. Those ticks carry Lyme disease.
I learned earlier in the show that animals don't have diseases that go to humans.
And they smell awful. Well, I mean, not from their bites necessarily, but the Lyme disease that those ticks are carrying could like ruin your life. I don't know how much you know about Lyme disease, but it's really odd how it affects people differently, and it's this lifelong ailment that there's no cure for.
It's like an autoimmune disease, right?
You end up with these issues with red meat and anemia, I believe, as well. I could be making the anemia part of it. I know the red meat thing is a thing. Like you cannot eat it anymore, and a lot of people have it, and it's a lifelong thing. You might as well have AIDS or something. Now you've got no, it's treatable.
Confidence. Maybe that's what it is. I thought there was a cure.
Yeah, it's treatable. It's pretty ridiculous. So no, I'm not fucking. And they smell like a dead deer immediately starts smelling a little bit. You know that you don't want to like be rubbing that thing's bodily fluids on your face.
Are you sure there's no cure now?
They're ripe with ticks. And
unless maybe they cured it like in the last 5 years or something. I'm basing this on like the last time I saw a celebrity on Rogan talking about his lifelong battle with Lyme disease.
That sucks, dude. I get a little afraid of that every time I find a tick on me, like after I've been outside or in the woods or whatever. I'm always like, I hope this is one of the good ones.
I think it's that the symptoms like go on forever, right? Like it just seemed like
I've also heard that it's uncurable. I heard that when I was younger, and I thought it's since been cured, but this is not my area of expertise. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm rewatching Boardwalk Empire.
Boardwalk Empire.
I blew through The Wire. That's quality entertainment.
I know you like those shows, and I also know that you're not alone. That most people consider them some of the best.
Yeah. Not for you.
I've seen The Wire twice. I loved the first season, and I liked the other seasons. I just don't put it there with the best of the best.
I think it's the writing that pushes it over for me, and like a couple of the characters in particular, like really do a great job. And no, I like it a lot, but it is very slow, and you have to. in season 2, that Ziggy character is just so obnoxious, and even his cousin, the other white guy, they're just, I feel like they're miscast or something. Like I don't like those characters. It's not great. Boardwalk's great though. I hadn't seen that in a while. The only problem with Boardwalk is you got to somehow buy that Steve Buscemi's a tough guy, and it's like
that's how I always felt about Joe Pesci.
Joe Pesci's stocky, you know, like I feel like he's no pushover. I bet he hits hard. But Steve Buscemi is just like this wimp of a lily flower kind of guy. Like he's just a wisp of a man. If I had to guess, he's like below 5'9", below 150, even in his prime. Like he's a little bitty fellow. So the idea that he's gonna conk some big galoot over the head and kick him in the ass, get out of my bar. Nah, that dude's gonna scoop you up, dude. You better have your goons like surrounding you at all times, because anybody in this room can throw you an ass whooping. He's just
Hollywood does that with the mob so much, right? Like, oh, here's a guy who's a good 220 pounds overweight, not 220 pounds, 220 pounds too fat. But he's like a tough guy. You lock the door, and he's like a dude. You know how unathletic that person is. Here's another guy, Steve Buscemi. Here's another guy, Joe Pesci. Your whole crew is like the fucking island of misfit toys. And I
disagree on this one. I think that big man is a real problem. Like that 400-pound man. Like I don't want Wings pushing me into a corner.
I feel like if I pull him towards me, he falls down. Like that guy is just a tippy toppy balance. He's like an upside down bowling pin.
Yeah, it's the difference between like an implied sort of scariness, where like if Tony Soprano's threatening you, not only are you afraid because he's a big scary man, but you also know that like shit, even if I whoop Tony's ass, hell, if I kill him even, it doesn't end well. He's not gonna go back like, yeah, Woody whooped my ass, boys. He's the boss now.
It was a fair fight.
Like,
hey, let it go.
Leave Woody alone. He kicked my butt in honorable combat. He's gonna be like, I want you to go over tonight. I want you to go get Woody. I don't want you to go get Woody's family. And get that dog, that stupid fucking dog. That dog. That's what's gonna.
So I'm with you on that, but sometimes I feel like these are people who aren't afraid of the mob, and they still like their biker gang. Look, that biker gang would have kicked the fuck out of the mob in that situation. They were all tougher guys.
Yeah, I think that's just a casting problem more than anything, and like the way it's sort of displayed. I don't know. I feel like if you look at the way like actual modern gangsters handle themselves, man, it seems like if anyone disrespects you, they just come back and shoot them to death, right? Like that's what most of that, when you hear about like the gun violence in Chicago, it's a drug war that's happening. It's gangsters fighting over corners and territory to sell drugs, and they're killing each other. And who's the guy in the NBA that Stephen A. Smith, not Stephen A. Smith, the other one. Who's the one that got the little lisp?
He's an announcer. But is he in the NBA?
He's it's the big dude. We were joking about him a couple. Shut the this fucking dog. It's that it's the black guy who has the show with the older white guy. He's a former player.
Right. Shannon Sharp is the one we talked about. Oh, he's a football player though.
Yeah, he was just called. I remember he was calling some an NBA player out for just being a gangster. And
so Shannon Sharp was calling out Ja Morant. Ja Morant apparently is not really a gangster, but he's adopted that persona and just walks around on the court like, don't fuck with me. Meanwhile, I don't know how big he is, but I think he's smaller than most NBA players.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess what I was getting at is like, seems like the way modern gangsters do things, like they just shoot each other. There's no like mob boss that's on the streets who's talking a lot of shit, because anybody who does that gets shot to death, it would seem.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, this isn't really my world, but
yeah, I'm going off The Wire mostly, right? Like I feel like The Wire is a pretty accurate representation of what's going on, like at street level drug sales, right?
Here's the situation that happens in movies: a guy's from out of town. He doesn't realize he's dealing with the mob, but he like gets his ass kicked because this mobster's supposed to be tough, but he doesn't seem very tough to me. Or it's like, if I have the ability to win this fight and then leave town and never come back to that town, that's my move. Yet all these guys lose their fights. Why? Because Joe Pesci's so handy with his hands.
You're going to have to give me some examples. And again, these are just issues with movies that you have more than like.
That's the issue I'm making, though. I'm not saying that like in real life, these gangsters are winning fights they shouldn't have.
You know, if you think about like I'm the main one where Joe Pesci's like the real tough guy is like Casino, you know. And if you look at like all the instances where he's conducting himself as a tough guy, he never squares up with anybody. He stabs people in the face when they aren't looking, right? Or he gets his goons to hold you on a table and put your head in a vise. He wasn't like, hey, yous, come at me. He never did anything like that. He never just threatened some. The only time he'd like actually went at somebody, it was like that fat, older, overweight lawyer. That's the guy he grabbed and was like, what the fuck are you going to do this and that? Someone he could overpower. Everybody else. Like, oh, you're not looking? Let me stab you in the ear. Dude, who stabbed you in the ear? I'm going to start crying too. Don't stab me in the ear, Joe. I didn't know. Dude, I thought an ass whooping was as bad as this could go. And I'm deaf as a leader. Like, we started off with deafness. I don't know. I'm afraid of Joe Pesci or anybody who's willing to stab me in the ear, even when it seems like things are okay now.
It's because he's unpredictable and cruel.
Did you step on my shoe? Yeah, sorry about that. And he turns away. No problem. But he's really going to stab me in the ear when I turn back to my drink. Like, I'm terrified of that guy.
Yeah, because he's not
going to arm wrestle me, Woody.
No, he's going to wait until you're not looking and stab you in the shoulder with a fork or something.
Something worse.
Probably something worse. That would actually be not too bad compared to what he did to most people.
Yeah, I'm scared. And then, you know, and the classic one where Joe Pesci is scary is when, you know, Home Alone. And if you're a child, Joe Pesci's terrifying, you know.
Yeah, horrifying. Do you know what actually scared me in Home Alone?
The dangerous one.
Escape from New York. Not Escape from New York. What the fuck is it
Escape
called?
from LA?
Boston, New York.